We,
All right, let's discuss the options.
so the options, as we see it, are three different options. We can repair what we have. We can buy a used truck, or we can buy a new truck. Come on up here.
Okay.
Now,
Did we get a chance to have an assessment done for repair?
yes, we have had it looked at. It's a,
And who looked at it?
who's the repair guy?
Or McDevitt?
For McDevitt.
I don't know what his name is.
McDevitt
It was a
is the
trash
guy
company.
who sold us the truck.
Ah.
Well, they're also the,
Yeah, they're trash.
yeah, they're the trash truck maintenance guys. So,
Jack.
Huh?
Jack McDivitt,
Yeah, McDevitt.
Notre Dame graduate.
Yeah, and they're gonna,
73.
and when the truck does, when the truck gets down there, they're gonna look into a few other.
Right,
All right,
so,
well, let's
we have-
be specific about this few other aspects. Let's talk first about an assessment of what our truck is and where it's at.
we had the truck looked at for our immediate issue, which is a radiator issue. They also are, if we send the truck down there to be repaired, they will do a more in-depth assessment of the entire engine. We feel that there's probably a belt or a series of belts and stuff that are out of alignment that may be causing us other problems. It was $6,000 to repair just the radiator and to do the assessment of the rest of the engine. So they've already told us that there is possible additional costs above the $6,000 if they have to repair the belts, okay? The other maintenance items on the truck that we already know about are brakes. They're all original brakes to the truck. And
Which makes them.
that's
how
gonna
old?
be 12 years old now. And those are between $2,000 and $3,000 a set to replace. And there are 6 sets on the truck. So that's an additional $12,000 just for the brakes. The body, we have already welded the body and put replacement metal into the body last summer, spring, summertime.
We did it 2 or 3 years ago. as well.
Right.
Right, so
done it twice.
we've repaired it a couple of times. So the body is pretty much at the end of its
How many
useful.
miles on that truck?
There are
147?
147,000 miles on the truck, and
It's over 10,000.
it's 10,750 hours on the engine.
Okay, do we know what the standards for a truck is?
10,000 hours on the engine is standard before you,
Now, we're talking about radiators and belts, but we're also, this is just to get the engine running and
That's
the truck
correct.
to get up and down the driveway.
that's correct.
Now, the hydraulics and the rest of the stuff.
The hydraulics are weaker than they used to be. For example, we used to have packing power, and our loads used to go to 15 tons, and now they barely make 11 and a half.
Okay, that's because of weakness to the hydraulic system.
They're just aging out.
It's
No,
just,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah,
just want to be clear on something.
And when we bought the truck, when Tim Kingston
buy it
was
new?
here, we bought it new.
And what do we pay
And
for it?
we paid 153,
61.
161 total.
Okay. When was that? So
We
12 years
purchased it in 2007.
April of
April of
2007, it's a 2006.
Okay.
Now, when we bought the truck, in the CIP, we had a useful life of 8 years. At the 8-year period, we extended that to 10 years because the truck was in pretty good shape. It is now 12 years old, so it's 50% beyond its
Right.
estimated useful life. And
And we're talking roughly 30,000 or so before we know if there's anything else wrong with it, if
yes,
you look realistic. Is that a
realistic.
number that makes sense to both of you? Okay, so if we're looking at 30 at a cost of 160 and we're 50%
Well,
over.
20 until they see what else,
No,
right?
actually
It's
30, if you're talking about 6 for the radiator,
Yeah.
and then we don't know what the belts cost, and another 12 for brakes. So you figure it's gotta be 30.
Okay.
Okay, so,
That's just my guess, what are you thinking?
so purchasing a used truck is a second option.
Okay,
We have investigated three, well, we haven't gotten all the information on the third truck, but we've looked at three trucks. The truck we're currently using from Witcher is $125,000. It's a used truck, it's a 2017. It has 33,000 miles on it,
and how many hours?
350.
350 hours. So the problems with that truck is it's a 20-yard Packer body, which is 5 yards less than what we currently have. And it does not allow us to keep on our current route and in the same time frame, because we just can't load the number of dumpsters onto it that we can
Right.
onto our big truck.
Can I ask you a math question?
Yes.
I wish I had paid attention to algebra. If we are loading at 11 as opposed to 15, this new one comes in at 15.
Those are tons.
Yeah, tons. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if we can compress it down to get 15 tons back in again, where we're at 11 now, would that extend our route?
We can't-
It's just a thought.
No, we can't physically, we can't compact that. We're not gonna get to the
So,
50.
okay, to get to the root of your question.
Yeah.
We have on the order of 75 dumpsters on the route.
Right.
Right now, the old truck our truck can put on about 25 of those dumpsters.
All right.
Okay?
But 25 is at 11 tons as opposed
Right.
to 15 tons.
Right, correct.
Okay.
And it, of course, it all depends on what's in the dumpster,
Yeah, gotcha.
So we think we can, obviously with a newer truck, we could increase capacity a little bit, number one. Number two, with the capacity that we can put on a truck like the one that we're renting, we have to make more trips, obviously.
How many dumpsters can you do with the one you're renting
12 to 15,
instead of 20?
right, 20 to 25.
And it's a volume and weight issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and just so the 20 yards and the 25 yards, those are sizes.
Right.
This one is a medium duty Packer. The one that we own is a heavy duty.
Okay, so we own a 25 and this is a 20.
Right.
So where I'm wrong is, and the maximum capacity for 20 might be just 11 at full capacity.
Correct, depending upon the
11.
crushing
Yeah,
power.
no, I've got you, because I was comparing apples to
Yeah.
apples on 15, if it was the same size.
Because if you could get
No,
another
I-
20, heavy duty 20, and get more on.
I understand why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
it's.
And the engine
You
size
understand why I'm
on,
wrong?
the engine size,
No. Okay.
the engine size on the Witcher truck is also a concern. It's only a 6.7 liter engine.
Yeah.
It's a medium duty truck. It's not going to have the life expectancy of the bigger truck.
And also
So-
we're dealing with more volume of trash.
That,
There's new trends.
exactly.
Yeah, and it has to do with axle weights,
Right.
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
And so we also looked at a larger 25 yard, but it has 74,000 miles on it. I don't know the number of hours, but it was 150,000. Okay, for that truck. And we don't have specifics on the size engine, so we don't know if it's a heavy duty truck or not. We're still waiting
Right.
to get that back. We even looked at an even older one, a 2014, but that already had 96,500 miles on it. And they wanted 140,000, 138 million for it. So
How much is a new one?
a new one is gonna be between 200 and 250. Okay, now, that is the Cadillac, that is a 13-liter heavy-duty engine. That is the best Packer that we can buy, that's gonna give us the best compaction for the longest period of time, and a 25-yard dump body. Okay, so can we get a less expensive one? Yes, we probably can go down to a less heavy-duty Packer. But in the long term, it's gonna work out to about the same, because if we have to make more trips, it's gonna cost us more on the operating side in the long run than the heavy-duty truck. So the $250,000 truck does not mess up. We can do it within the capital plan. We can do it within our financing guidelines that we've been telling town meeting we're trying to live up to. But I understand that it's a big warrant article to be throwing on at the end of the year. But
How can we do that? How can we do $250,000, let's say in bond, and still stay within the capital plan?
because we had excess capacity within the plan on the $2.75 per thousand guidance that the planning board's been working on.
And does that include the trash, I'm sorry, the ladder truck?
Yes.
It seems to me if we have some excess capacity in that capital budget, we ought to do it now before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just have one more question because I feel like Columbo.
Right.
But
No.
just from my
I love-
limited knowledge of
Columbo's always right.
and guy stuff, you're
Yes.
talking about, and I'm concerned as we're seeing people talk about the ecology of town and everything else. When you're talking about buying an 11.7 liter engine, what is the fuel economy compared to a smaller engine? Just because I hear that, because I'm looking at a new car, I'm looking at
Sure.
mileage on stuff and,
Difference
It would probably be less. I mean, right now, I think we figure 8 to 10 miles per gallon.
yeah, and so what would this get?
I would think with the newer engines,
But it's a bigger engine, isn't it?
it'd be around the same size as
This
the
one's
one we
11,
have.
11.
I'd have to double check, but it's a big engine. The truck that we had, the new one, say we spend the money for the new one, is pretty much gonna replace the one that we have, spec for spec.
Okay, so our engine is that big?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Our current green truck
Right.
engine is that big. The truck we're using, the little
No,
one,
no, I
is a much smaller engine.
So fuel economy wise, I would say that it would be, my gut would tell me with the newer engines that it would be the same or slightly better.
And the reason that we would like to spec a larger truck is because of the highway miles that
And
are
I agree with you on
and
the
the
larger.
mountain
I
terrain.
I
mean,
agree,
that's what,
larger in the truck is my
Yeah.
thought. It's a necessity for the town because,
I mean, even more so than, I won't say this at town meeting, I promise you. Even more so than fire trucks. This truck gets used every day.
and we hear about it as
And we-
it's not.
And it's an issue. Well, it's not
We
just
do.
that people are complaining, it's the fact that we got a health issue.
Right.
If this truck isn't working. So we really do need
Now, what kind of warranties come with these trucks?
a 5-year, warranty on the Packer hydraulics and a 5-year part warranty on the rest of the truck.
And where's the dealership?
Well, we're working with 2 right now to get the final numbers. We're working with Kentworth of New Hampshire and Freightliner of New Hampshire.
And
So-
would they provide us a loaner or reimbursement for a
Well-
loaner if it fails?
Well, we can continue to use
We
the
can talk
switcher
to them
truck
about
until we
Yeah, well,
have
we're
a
paying-
replacement.
We're paying for it, but I'm talking about if we have the new truck and it goes down.
Oh,
Well, herein lies the rub. Most places do not,
You're not
Traffic-
sure,
right,
they don't have used trucks.
they
laying
don't
around.
have a trash truck laying around for.
But would there be a reimbursement? It's kind of like, rental insurance on when you have.
I don't know what I can find out what the
It's a good
terms of the
question
warranty.
to ask,
Sure.
That's why you typically, the only things that you can find other than used, the only new trash trucks you can find are the kind that you'd pick right off the shelf, put in a small town, landscape, and hand bomb it into the back, pick up curbside, and then just drive over here and dump it, It's a medium
They're very
duty,
lightweight.
very lightweight,
I get what you're saying.
and
Available.
those are the only ones that you can find stock.
Did you investigate the cost of a lease, a 3-year lease?
No, but I have a lease company I can give them the numbers to and work that out. But the lease will blow up our capital year-to-year budget. So that will exceed, so if we lease this thing for 3 years.
Right.
That's gonna be a payment of probably $80,000 as opposed to a
Right.
bond payment of $20,000.
How long do you bond it for? The life of the truck?
10
This would
years.
be
10 years.
We'd go the 10-year, because we can make this truck work for 10 years.
So you're looking about 30,000. Add interest to 10 on 250.
Right, so you add interest to the lease,
So
and you're
that's
probably
only
pushing
getting
100.
half of the 2.75,
Yeah.
30,000.
Yeah. Yeah, the 250 doesn't go in
Right.
all in 1 year. It gets spread out over 10.
Margaret, what do you think?
Yeah, but still, bonding it makes sense for the same reason we want to bond the ladder truck, because you're spreading it out over to the people over the life of the equipment.
And on the 250, we can put 250 in there, and then if we get a better deal, like Freightliner's chassis is $10,000 or $20,000 less, we could potentially get a savings on the 250. But I think 250 is gonna cover
Pretty safe.
the
Is there
highest.
is there any reason to go through the analysis on the old truck to keep it as a backup?
There's no place to keep it. We'd be putting it outside in weather like today. And
But here's something else that just found out.
Yeah.
We are now in the 3rd week of January. We will not have approval on this till the 1st week of March.
right,
We're paying $3,000 for how much time? It was gonna cost us $3,000 a week for this truck.
The rate right now is hopefully variable, because,
if we tell them we're gonna keep it until the end of March,
right,
get the new truck,
it'll
Right.
be
we
a
could
reduced
potentially
rate.
reduce our hourly rate so that it would cost us less.
But my question is this: if we need 24,000 to make the old truck work,
Yeah.
as opposed to giving him 30,000 to use it till the end of March,
Right.
it's something we should discuss and look at.
Well, but the old truck is gonna take several weeks to fix.
Okay, no, that's why I
So-
want to discuss this.
And we're still gonna have potential brake problems and everything
So,
else,
so it comes out that it's going to be almost a wash with, by the time they get it done
By
to
the
a
time they get it
subsistence
done,
level,
yeah.
we've wasted this money because it's not going to, would it be worth anything as a trade-in? Would we get the money back from fixing the truck as to resell it to someone else? If we put 25,000 into it, could we get 25,000 for the truck to sell?
I mean, look at what
Sure.
they're charging for the other
Yeah.
used trucks.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the only,
But potentially,
all right, no,
and I think that is something that needs to be looked at, but I don't think anybody's gonna take it on a trade, but they might.
We're
Yeah.
not gonna get very much money on a trade for it.
I-
Now, if we sell it ourselves, that might be another,
right, so the
situation.
concern that I have is that we're gonna spend $50,000 on this rental truck before we're done.
the nice thing is if this truck breaks, it's not really our problem.
Yeah, but still, we're spending 50,000,
No, I know.
where we might have an asset we can sell for the difference. And if we wanna ordering that truck, what if we order it in March and they tell us we can't have it till July? You know, then we're in,
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is
We're
it
gonna-
really gonna come in that
Well-
quick? If you order it in March, it's gonna
We-
come in
He
March?
said he
No.
can, no, it won't come in March, but.
No.
it
It's
will
one of
have
the
our-
first questions
do we have our
have.
plow yet?
30 to
It would be
60.
it's in the shop.
Okay,
The we do have, we have a commitment from them.
30 to 60 days.
30 to 60 days for the body.
As soon as we sign the purchase agreement. And the
So,
Freightliner guys said that they can match it up probably within that.
But still, that's a couple of months and that could
No,
be
it
almost
is.
$30,000.
Well, once we get to March, we're not gonna be using that truck anywhere near the way we're using it
Right.
now.
number one.
Hours.
Number two, I think the one thing that we have to do is we have to get it down there and at least operable.
Okay.
And then, if we can limp along until the new one comes in without putting a whole lot of money
That's,
into it.
that's what I think I'm asking. I think-
You know, until the new one gets here. If the truck that we're renting will be available, of course, until he sells it. But it's available to us to rent.
Now we have
So-
a variable too here, and
So-
until he sells it, what if he sells it?
Well,
Well,
You know?
so, okay, yes, and that is a concern. So if we can do it, we have $10,200 available in the maintenance capital reserve. We can send that truck down there and tell him,
Fix the
we need to
radiator.
fix it, fix a radiator, tell us about the belts.
Yeah.
If he comes back and he tells us that he can fix the belts within 10,000 total, radiator and belts.
Yeah.
Then let's do that and bond don't use any of the capital reserve towards the purchase of the new truck, right? Because the capital reserve is for maintenance or replacement. So we won't use any money from that,
So where's
Well,
the
basically,
10,200 coming from? Isn't it
the
10,000?
existing capital reserve.
Okay, but you
that
just
we
said
put
don't
away.
use any money from the capital reserve above that.
No, what I'm saying is we don't have to appropriate any additional
Additional.
money at town meeting to fix the old
Oh,
truck to
yeah.
keep it running. As long as we can keep it running within that $10,000.
But don't we have normal maintenance money and extra money?
Well, we have a little bit of maintenance money in his budget, but
It's
A
like
couple.
5 or 7.
$5,000 or $7,000,
Okay, yeah.
which also includes tires and everything else. So, but yeah, if we can keep the old truck running, get it running again, and keep it running within our available monies, then let's go ahead and do that and not spend the money on Witcher's rental.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
agree with that.
But my concern is if he finds something when he's repairing the radiator, we're gonna have to add money to the maintenance
Well,
capital
When he
reserve.
goes through all that and
Right.
he finds it, we'll have a much better picture.
Right,
Whether it's gonna cost us 60,000 to have a
Right.
truck that's worth
Right.
20,
right.
it's worth spending, it's worth
Yeah,
more than the
yeah,
rental.
yeah,
But if we can spend
Got it.
25
Mhm.
and have something that might be worth 25
sure,
at the end.
or
I think-
40, or
Or whatever we can sell it
Yeah.
for. Or we just keep it as a backup here for a little while until the winter comes, or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, until next winter.
But I think we should put,
I don't know how much depreciation costs, but all of the quotes we got on used trucks were over $100,000.
yeah, but what,
Yeah, but those are all trucks that have been used totally different than this truck.
why?
Because
The
they've
little
been
grandmother's
used,
only picking up after
well,
birthday parties?
literally like that. They're probably
Medium, most of the
medium-duty
medium
trucks
duty
that are being used.
Oh, that's
in
right, these
city-
aren't heavy duty trucks we're
Right.
talking about.
They're being used in city environments where they're throwing the trash can in the back. You
They're
know,
not
so
hoisting it like
they're
we are.
not doing what we're doing.
And they're
But-
still charging over $100,000.
Absolutely.
Well, I think you've got to be a basic cost, it's like,
But I'm with Mike though, if we
Yeah.
put some money into this and it's a running truck,
Mhm.
we might get 70, 80,000 for it, who knows?
we might get, I just want to get the money we put into it, and
Right.
maybe the rental.
Right,
Now, another question, from what department does that rental payment come from?
is,
Do you have that? What, so that's my question. From what, where are we gonna, how do we get that, where are we gonna find the money for the rental?
we've always taken it out of the departmental costs. And if we
Right,
need
no,
to
no.
plus it up 5 or 10,000 within that department budget,
Yeah.
I think we've got a reason. I mean,
Okay,
these
no.
are unexpected,
This is the first,
unbudgeted accounts.
this is the first time we've ever
Yeah.
come in a potential where we might have a
Right.
significant
Right.
overcharge to a department since I've been here.
Yeah.
Martha, with you?
Right.
So 5 or 10, Jim and I can do the calculation on the number of hours we expect. And
Is
we
that
can
how you're
put 5
being
or
billed
10,
based on number of hours?
75 hours, or $75 an hour
Right now.
on the engine, not on days of the week or whatever. It's our engine hours. How much have we used it? 30 or 40 already? So that's $3,000 at this point.
And you've been using it how long?
2
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Right,
So
so-
1,500.
But I still think we should have a warrant article for the garbage truck.
Okay,
Whether we need it or not, we should have it.
okay,
Margaret, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Rich, I agree.
good. We will do that and include it in the budget request.
Do we have anything else?
Yeah, just because we have Jim here, just 2 things that are trash related for Wednesday that I just didn't want you looking at this for the first time on Wednesday. These are the ordinances that we talked about redoing, because we have to include them on the warrant. They are town meeting ordinances. One, two, yours. So the yellow highlighted bold text is what we're talking about adding.
That highlighted and maintained,
Mm-hmm.
I find that to be ambiguous from the first look.
Okay,
Anybody else? It doesn't say who maintains it.
well, it says at no cost to the town, so it's their
Right, but
responsibility.
no cost. It's, I'm just not reading it to say that it's the association, the property owner's responsibility, not the town's responsibility to maintain.
Okay,
You
So-
so,
Just say,
Yeah, you
just
can
say
shift it to
by
active voice.
the,
I beg your pardon?
You shift it to the active
okay,
voice and passiveness.
so just say by
Yeah.
the condo association. Okay,
Because that gets it now.
I think So that no cost to town works.
How about in B, below that to reiterate it, these are the responsibilities of the condominium association? Or it says it up on the top, it's kind of, that makes it redundant.
right, it's the person or entity, because it also applies to commercials.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was big, that was redundant, that's suggested.
it's because of preposition. in the sentence with,
Right.
say, under C, and disposed of properly, instead of properly disposed of. It's that grammar thing.
Dang, copies.
This really is gonna be of greatest interest to the property management
Right, I just
company.
would,
No, and I'm not expecting that on Wednesday
Right.
you would adopt this. I'm just trying to give you some more time to digest it.
Yeah. Yeah.
only other question I would have would be the responsibility to notify the end user of these regulations. Like, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the problem that we're having now is, I got the list from Jan
Yeah.
and the most updated list from Jan, and we're still seeing a lot of associations that are taking care of their home. They may contract with Will or whatever, but they're not the point of contact. So on a day-to-day basis, it's still the condo association board or whatever that's responsible for doing a lot of this maintenance. That was a separate company.
Yeah, like talking to Jim Bosco.
Right.
They're self-managed, and
Right.
same thing over at. Are there any dumpsters at residential?
No.
So,
No, I like that, I think it's good.
okay, so just think about that. And then my friend Ryan Wingard sent us our engineer for the dam project.
Yes,
I've been asking him where we stand on the budget for the dam. And he is recommending that we budget some additional money in the 2019 budget request. And just, again, didn't want to,
This isn't covered by the contingency that's in the.
but that he's saying that we basically use the contingency at this point, or it's committed to, and that he doesn't want to use all of it. So there would be $10,000 in contingency. And I would recommend that whatever amount you decide that we should put in there, that it come from fund balance, because it can be returned to fund balance if it's not used.
so my first read through this is he's only looking for about $5,000. He's saying 4 to 5 above the 10,000 contingency.
Right, but he doesn't want to commit the 10,000 contingency, so he's asking for 14 to 15. He put into the town meeting warrant for this year as a supplemental appropriation for this project, okay? He's only really expecting 5,000 of that, but he really doesn't know, because we only have, what, about 5 or 6% of the ACBs installed at this
Correct.
point. So he wants to maintain that 10,000 contingency.
What kind of testing does he have to do that's variable on the ACVs and the rest of that?
Soil compaction and concrete stress tests and slump tests. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and materials testing for materials imported and used for the placement. All of that.
What kind of testing does he have to do?
They hire, well, they'll have to do sieve analysis on gravels, say, on the gravel source. They have to do, they have to test the concrete, which is, there shouldn't be any more concrete testing next year. And they have to do compaction tests. And it's an outside company that they hire and they
Outside
bring in.
company.
Is this
And
part of the
it's-
DES requirement?
Mhm.
So they don't, bid out the contractor, and the contractor certifies they do the work.
That's correct.
So they don't trust the
In-
contractor.
That's right. They test the contractor while he's doing the work.
Yeah.
And we have spent a lot of money having, like, the Haley and Aldrich engineer. He has to be standing there watching them do the work. Okay, we're required to have him there at certain points. He came up.
Brother-in-law's he.
Huh?
Brother-in-law's he.
Well, but what has happened is he has come up here because they thought they were gonna be able to place the ACBs, okay? And when he got here, the weather, it just made it impossible. They decided, the Haley and Aldrich guy participating in that,
He calls
that
it shots.
they couldn't place the ACBs, so we got no placement out of his time to be there. So we've been blowing up the budget, not getting anything actually laid down and work actually finished. So that's where these additional costs are coming from. And it,
This is the state's requirement.
and
that
it's
we
the
have
state's
here and there,
requirement
right?
that he be there. Yeah. If it was just the Wright Pierce guy, he would have been on site anyway, and we wouldn't be paying additional money.
And this is the
But-
contract the state made us take.
Yes.
That's right. So that's been the biggest engineering cost that I can see that they're having the overrun. And I know it's gonna piss people off, but it's like our hands are really tied on this. It isn't anything, I can go back to the state and say, well, Haley and Aldrich was there, so you shouldn't make us bring him back again. They're just gonna tell me this.
It's really a byproduct of the timing of the project.
And trying to do this split. Season.
I mean, you've got, with trying to do the project in the worst possible time of the year.
And my concern is we're gonna run into that same thing in the spring where
Gets too wet.
it's gonna get too wet and he's gonna come up and he's gonna look at the ground and he's gonna go,
No, you can't place.
you can't place them today because it's too wet. I mean, I just see this continuing to happen in the spring.
Yeah, because if it's too wet, then you can't get the compaction. You can't get
Right.
the 96% compaction that you need.
Maybe we want to go to the
Is
mountain
the,
and ask them to help contribute to this. because
Is
we've
it-
done this as a
since
foundation.
our engineer is already on site, can our engineer do a pre-assessment of whether they should bring the guy in?
I think it's a day-to-day thing.
But it's a day-to-day thing,
Yeah.
and yes, our engineer does that, the
Right.
site guy, but he has to, for scheduling purposes, tell the Haley and Aldrich engineer, you gotta be here on Tuesday, cause they're placing ACBs. And then if it rains all night on Monday,
Yeah.
or this year, what happened was it freaking went to
Snow.
10 below, and it snowed, and so he
Snow,
got there
rain,
and
froze,
it
snow,
froze
rain,
solid.
froze.
Yeah, I mean, it was a terrible November and December, so, I mean, that's unfortunate. These guys get paid.
It's to thaw out.
Yeah.
And then typically what you have to do is you have to remove that thawed material and dispose of it. Whereas you may have been able to use it. So a lot of times that thawed material
Gigantic
has to come out.
veins.
Yeah.
No, rice, we'll just throw
Right,
rice on
right,
it.
yeah. Yeah. Boatload of rice. Yeah, but anyway, I just,
Okay, well, I think we have to, and we have to explain that, we might not spend it, but this is why.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so I will put the 10 in there from fund balance, so it's not gonna change
Right.
our budget numbers. Tax rate wise.
And are we meeting earlier on Wednesday for you,
Two-
Margaret?
2 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. How are rehearsals going?
Great.
Yeah.
2 dresses. We've had 2 days, 2 full days off.
Yeah.
Last Saturday and
Is
yesterday.
it sold out?
I have no idea. We'll find out probably
What night,
tonight.
what night does it start?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Wednesday and Thursday usually has good availability. Get into the weekend, a lot of people.
Oh, it is the thing to do.
There are over 50 kids in production, so it's the bums and the seats, yes.
Your fish number 47.
Somewhere there's an aunt who's not picking up her phone.
It's not quite like that. What they did this year was that they organized them by age into schools of fish. And then they have adults that are responsible for the schools of fish, making sure that they're all there and that they have their makeup on.
How's Brooke doing? with her
Brooke is
school?
doing well with her 11-year-olds. I have the 10-year-olds. I have 10-year-olds, yeah.
So, can you adjourn?
Yes, I will make a motion to adjourn at 11.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Just let me know when we're off.